Bob Cafaro here. It's been a while since my last video, but times have changed because my last video I made dehydrated sweet potatoes, which I was taking on tour to China and Korea for 3 weeks, which I basically lived on. I think I ate in restaurants about 3 times on that 3-week tour. As you know, I worry about growing the food in China because there's a lot of pollution there, the air, the water, the land. Anyway, back home today I'm going to make something different, and that is dehydrated organic tomatoes from our farmers, Dan and Lynn Lenko of Dan Lynn Farms in Pedricktown, New Jersey. I think it's so important to know your food source, and Teresa and I have been to Dan and Lynn's farm many times, and I know how organic farming and natural farming without pesticides is something of a religion to them. So I'm very confident in their food. We've had very hot weather here in New Jersey, and the temperature's been, I think, about 95 degrees plus for the last few days. The tomatoes are ripening so quickly, so we were able to get 2 crates of tomatoes from Dan Lynn Farms today. It's Saturday. As you can see here, we have these heirloom tomatoes, and they're just amazing, and they're racing against the clock because they're ripening so quickly. And if you look at these are organic slicing tomatoes. So we're going to dehydrate these today, and I have 2 of my dehydrators here. One is the Excalibur 9 tray dehydrator, and this does 15 square feet total with 9 trays in it. I think we've spoken a little bit about this before. You can see the trays all clean and ready to go. And then one I recently acquired was a Cabela's. Here it is, you can see it. Cabela's, a 10 tray electronic dehydrator. This one has a digital readout. I don't know how necessary that is, but you can see these trays are not as fine a mesh, but these will be fine for tomatoes. So just to have a look at some of these, here we have slicing tomatoes here. We have heirlooms, yellow and red, and the yellows are low acid. And the tools we're going to need, if I may here, we're going to need a good vegetable knife and a sharpener. So these will dull the knife rather quickly as you keep slicing. So let's proceed. What we're going to do now is we're going to take these tomatoes. I put them in a bowl, and then I just put water in and take them out as I need them. Okay. And let's get them nice and cleaned here. Okay, we'll put these in the sink, and then we'll start with this one here. And don't be frightened by the look of some of these. That's an organic tomato, the way they come out by nature's design. We don't need these perfect produce that we see in the supermarket that the bugs wouldn't touch. So I think it's important to not be so picky about that. And this is pretty amazing. So let's see what these look like as we slice them here. And we're going to slice them about yay thick. Okay. And it's interesting because I'm just now running out of tomatoes that I dehydrated from last year. So this is pretty timely that they're ready early. And again, when you dehydrate these tomatoes, you retain the taste of a ripe tomato well into February, March, and even the springtime. So there we go, and that should be good there. And let's get the last slices here. And one more. Try not to slice my fingers. It's important when you slice tomatoes with a sharp knife, keep your fingers curved. So look at these slices. Let's take out a tray on the dehydrator here, and we'll lay these out like so. You can see how juicy these are. Absolutely amazing. This is a real tomato, not the tomatoes you buy in the supermarket. The tomatoes you buy in the supermarket are treated with I don't know how many chemicals, and also they're not real tomatoes. They're what we call transit tomatoes, and they're designed with one purpose, and that's to survive transit. And you notice how green they are and how firm they are. There's something very artificial about them. So I will not eat those transit tomatoes from the supermarket. So here we are, organic tomatoes. I'm going to slice 10 trays of these and 9 trays in the other one. So we'll come back when these are ready to go through their dehydration cycle. Okay, it's important to have a sharp knife. When you're a professional cellist, if the knife slips and you cut a finger, it's game over. So keep the knife sharp. Very important that the knife cuts reliably in the direction you push. So this is a pretty good little sharpener here. Ceramic V, and you pull the knife through. It's like a razor blade. Okay, so I've cut up basically maybe 1.5 crates of tomatoes. Some of them are not ripe yet. If you can look at some of these, they look great, but they're not quite that ripe yet. So maybe another day or so. But if you come over here and look here, we have, look at this. Look at how good that looks. That's a tomato. That's not a transit tomato. When you eat one of these, the juice runs down your arm. And these New Jersey tomatoes in the summer from an organic farm are amazing. They're really great. So here we have 10 trays, and these are going to go out on the front porch so it doesn't heat up the house. You don't want to have your air conditioner and your dehydrators duking it out. So these will generate a decent amount of heat in the house. Outside they go. Let's look over here at the other. This is the 9 tray dehydrator. And here we have, look at these, all ready to go. Don't they look great? Wow. So it's important, number one, as Dr. Wall says about healing and rebuilding the cells of your body, eating natural food from a good source. Very important. We live in a society where we don't know the source of our food, and many people seem to care less about what it is or where it comes from. So I think it's so important to know the source of your food and to be very picky about where your food comes from. That's why I like the idea of having this amazingly fresh produce in the middle of the winter. Let me show you one more thing what I did. I actually ran out of ripe tomatoes here, and I didn't want to waste the space on the dehydrator. So here I have organic cucumbers and organic zucchini all ready to go on the dehydrator. So again, I'll have that anytime, and just it'll reconstitute whether it's a little bit of water or just eating it as a snack. So let's put these outside, plug it in, crank it up to 135 degrees, which is recommended for vegetables, and then we'll come back in a day and see how it turns out. Okay? Okay, welcome back. It's been about 38 hours since I started the dehydrating of the tomatoes. We had a major issue here. I kept the 2 dehydrators outside under an overhang, but we had a very severe thunderstorm come in with windswept rains. So water got on both units and they both shut down. They shorted out. So this one, I was able to get it going a short time later. The other unit here, it got water actually in the temperature control unit. So that one, I couldn't even plug it in. Now I can plug it in, but we're gonna let this one dry out. So you have to be ready when the unexpected happens. Let's see. I did manage to get the tomatoes done. Look at these. Remember those tomatoes? Look at them now. And also I had room on the rack, so I dehydrated some zucchini. Here's some giant green zucchini, and here's some giant yellow zucchini. So these look amazing. We have both the heirlooms and the red slicing tomatoes. So you can see, whoops, some of them are still, that went in later, are still not quite right. I had to take the ones out of that unit, put them in trays, and then refrigerate them until they were ready on the rack here. So anyway, these are going to go in. This bag is for the tomatoes. So look at these dehydrated tomatoes, and these are going to be great in February. So anyway, thanks. By the way, the other thing, I baked organic sweet potatoes. And look at these. These were some of the biggest organic sweet potatoes I've ever seen. You can see how big, and I don't know, I'm not sure whether I'll dehydrate these now or not, but these are going to be amazing. So anyway, thanks for joining us on this trip, and stay tuned for more healthy organic food, chronic illness fighting foods, and see you soon.